What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Collective MMA channel. We are back with episode 7 of Fight IQ, and I'm here with my guy, the Wager Zone. Wager, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing very well. I'm actually excited for this card because I think we're gonna get a lot of bangers on this card. There's a lot of close fights. I mean not close fights. I mean more of in like if you don't know these guys, you're gonna be thinking, "Oh, this is a lot of close fights," but there's some bangers. People are gonna get knocked out. I hopefully we can hit some underdog tickets. I don't really see that much, but hopefully we can cash some out, cash some tickets. How about you? How are you doing?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm doing well. Did a lot of tape today. Some of these fighters I wanted to watch some more tape on and learn more about them. But yeah, overall doing well, and had a good weekend. Enjoyed LFA, UFC, and PFL last weekend, and looking to have another good weekend. And yeah, make sure you guys hit that subscribe. We'll be coming at you guys with a PFL and a LFA video this week as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe and turn on noties. And before we get into PFL Belgrade, let's do a quick recap of UFC Abu Dhabi. Overall, man, what were your thoughts and how'd you make out, from a betting standpoint?
I thought it was a pretty good card. I mean, there was so many good fights that every single time you got like a little bit slower pace fight, people were like, "Oh, this sucks. This is boring." I'm like, "It's not boring. It's more of that we've got so many good fights that the one time you get a bad fight, it's like, oh, this is horrible. The card sucks." But I thought the card was great. I cashed out pretty well. I hit my 3 unit play, which ended up turning to a it was at I hit it at minus 144, but then ended up churning to a minus 189, minus 190 because I parlayed Ankalaev, Dulatov, and Sam Patterson, and then obviously Dulatov fight got canceled. So I cashed a 3 unit play, but it was a little bit less odds. We hit another play. We took a 2 unit play on Kuniev, parlayed with Hussein. That was the easy money. We took another 1 unit play, which these are like my favorite things to do. A lot of people don't really do these, but I like doing it especially when I see a lot of spots where I parlayed 3 fights for a fight to complete round one. That's a little thing I like to do. It's where like if I think a fight goes to decision, I'm gonna parlay it with the fight to complete 1 round. Like so, Zanukov and Rębecki fight to complete 1 round. Vagayev and Ishgakmayev fight to complete 1 round. Aliyev and Mike Davis fight to complete 1 round. That came out to a minus 120. We put a unit on that, cashed that one. Took Walter Walker by submission, cashed that one. And the only bet we actually lost is we parlayed Axel Sola with Dustin Jacoby. So the only bet we lost, and it was kind of sucks because I don't think that was the full Dustin Jacoby.
Nice, right on, man. Good to hear. Yeah, sounds like you had a good weekend. Yeah, for me, did well. On my 5 MMA bets in just 10 minutes video, we went 3 for 5. So yes, made a little bit of profit. Definitely gonna look to do better this week. Yeah, on that show, I gave out Hussein inside the distance. That was a little bit frustrating to watch because I feel like he should have got him out of there sooner, but that cashed. We had a Sam Patterson and John Pork parlay. That one cashed. We had just Dustin Jacoby as well. And again, watching that fight, yeah, like you mentioned, something was off. I knew something was off watching it. And he just actually posted on his Instagram that he thought he broke his arm in the fight early on in the fight. Hence why he didn't throw that right hand the whole fight, which definitely makes a lot more sense. So yeah, that was unfortunate. So that was our first loss. Then we had the over on the Rizvan Kuniev and Tyrell Fortune fight. Missed that by about a minute, so that one stung a little bit. And then we had the over 1.5 in a PFL fight. So yeah, overall in that video did well. And then for me, yeah, I also had a couple other bets as well. Played Walter Walker, played the under 2.5 in the Axel Sola fight. And yeah, overall was good. No complaints for me. Yeah, most of the fights were good. Obviously, yeah, like you mentioned, there was a couple duds here and there, but overall it delivered. So yeah, looking forward to doing the same again with you this week. So without any further ado, let's jump on right into UFC Belgrade. With our first fight of the night, we have Marina Spasić versus Stephanie Luciano. We have Spasić coming in at plus 256 and Luciano coming in at minus 315. What do you like in this one?
I think this is a very competitive fight. I think the odds are probably a little too wide. I mean, her being, I think it was like, what was the odds? He said like minus 250, something like that.
Minus 315 on Luciano.
Yeah, it's even more than I thought. So I think the odds are like really wide, honestly. But I think Luciano's gonna win, but I do think the odds she should be like maybe minus 190, minus 200. I see this fight going to where I think Luciano's just gonna be able to mix it up more. I think Spasić, she's going to be more into the striking game, and I think Luciano might be a slightly even better striker than her. Not going to lie, I think it's very close in the striking, but I think overall, just mixing up the grappling, mixing everything together, I think Luciano's going to do very well. She's obviously fought the better competition. She's been in the UFC. This is her fourth fight in the UFC, beating Talita Alencar, going to split decision with Sam Hughes. That was a pretty close fight. And then her easiest fight of the whole entire UFC career was against Ravena Oliveira, where I actually cashed on that one, taking her by submission. So I was very happy that one cashed for me. But overall, I just do believe the grappling is going to be where the difference is going to be at. I think there's going to be levels in the grappling, and I think even in the striking, Luciano is probably slightly better than Spasić in the striking. So I think the odds are a little bit too wide. But either way, I do think Luciano's going to win this fight, and I think she's probably going to get it done by sub. I think she's going to end up submitting her probably second or third round.
All right. Yeah, this one's interesting. Like, I think, yeah, kind of like you said, like, I think the line's a bit wide here. Like, yeah, Spasić, like, she's got some good leg kicks, pressure, works this jab and straight punches. Yeah, she's pretty good in the clinch, has some basic combos. She can get a bit wild at times, but yeah, overall, pretty good striker, has a lot of weapons. She's, for the most part, looking to back you up, get you behind the black line, and, you know, rip some punches, rip some shots. She has a killer instinct, which I like. Yeah, she'll mix up her targets, go to the body, go to the head, go to the legs, and she much prefers to move forward than on her back foot. So I think that's going to be an interesting like caveat in this fight is who's going to be the one advancing and who's going to be backing up. And she can be a bit low volumes at times, and yeah, she can mix in takedowns of her own. Doesn't really seem to have the best takedown or top control, I would say. But yeah, overall, I don't think she's going to shoot too much in this fight. She's probably going to strike. And yeah, Luciano, good kicks, good pressure, elbows. She'll throw a couple flying knees sometimes, which you don't see too often in women's MMA. She can also be low volumes at times as well, but she does counter pretty well, which I like. She is a bit hittable to the straight punches. She also mixed up her weapons pretty well. So yeah, I think the striking is going to be pretty close. I think you can honestly make an argument either way on who's striking you like more. But yeah, I think, you know, Luciano's going to have the grappling edge here. So yeah, I do think that could lead to her having success, you know, winning minutes on the mat. She shows a lot of heart as well. She was in a couple bad spots against Sam Hughes, especially in that second round. And the way that she fought out of that was really impressive to me. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Luciano by decision. As far as the straight money line, like, yeah, I think parlaying Luciano at minus 315 is a bit wide. So I kind of think it's a dog or pass from that standpoint. But if you're looking for a play on Luciano, I think Luciano by decision at minus 125 would definitely be worth a look. So that is the first fight of the night. We will keep on moving. Next up, we have Jovan Leka versus Alexander Poppeck. We have Leka coming in at minus 205 and Poppeck coming in at plus 177. This is an interesting one. And note this one, this is a heavyweight fight, and Poppeck has fought his whole career at light heavyweight, so he's coming up to heavyweight for this one. So, yeah, like starting off with Leka, yeah, he works the jab and straight. He'll throw teep kicks, leg kicks. He likes to mix it up. Also likes to get the fight to the mat and has a good arm triangle, has good ground and pound. He has a good cage push along the fence as well. Yeah, can go for takedowns of his own. Yeah, if he does get taken down, Leka will work back to his feet. He seems to have pretty good top control and is looking to finish the fight. And he seems to have pretty good takedown defense as well. And then on the other side, having Poppeck, like, yeah, he'll work the jab. You know, he uses a lot more movement, leg kicks. He looks to counter, which can lead to him being low volume at times. He'll catch kicks and he'll look to like blitz forward with flurries at times. He's got decent takedown defense. But yeah, again, as I mentioned, him being a light heavyweight, I'm not sure that he's going to have a whole lot of success, you know, defending Leka, try to take him down here, pin him against the cage, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think Leka ends up getting this one done inside the distance. I think his grappling and size is going to be too much for Poppeck to deal with here. So yeah, I think there's a couple different ways you could attack from a bet. I think Leka inside the distance at plus 115 would be a pretty good angle. So yeah, give me Leka inside the distance. What about you?
I agree. I am on the Jovan Leka side. I think he does finish his fight. I think he ends up knocking him out. Because I just think that Poppeck he's a decent fighter, but the one thing I've noticed is he has gas tank issues. And the one thing he does struggle with, he struggles with pressure. And that's exactly the kind of fight that Leka's going to be bringing you. He's going to be pressuring you. He's going to be walking forward the whole time. There's forward pressure, throwing a lot of strikes. He can mix some wrestling as well. And I think this fight could be competitive for the first, like, probably 3-4 minutes of the fight. But after that, I just think Poppeck's going to end up gassing himself out. I watched a lot of Poppeck because I remember him coming on to the Contender Series. He ended up losing that fight in the Contender Series. Then he ended up going to the PFL's version of the Contender Series and the Challenger Series and PFL. I end up losing that fight as well. So I feel like I have a good read on this fight because I think Jovan Leka, just the pressure. I think he's just gonna have forward pressure the whole time, throwing a lot of shots. Like I said, competitive for the first like 3-4 minutes, but after that, I think Leka's eventually gonna finish this fight. And I'm gonna say he wins by knockout in that third round. I think his coaches probably have a good game plan for him. Like, hey, be safe in that first round because Poppeck, that's gonna be the only chance he really has is gonna be a first round knockout. And after that, he's going to gas out, and then you're going to get him in the second and third. You can end up finishing this fight. So give me Jovan Leka, and I think he does it by knockout. Just a forward pressure, Poppeck gasses out, then he puts it on him and ends up putting him away.
All right. Next up, we got Nina Milošević versus Hailey Cowan. We got Milošević coming in at -450 and Hailey Cowan coming in at +350. What do you like in this one?
Milošević versus the future Hailey Cowan. I'm kidding about that one, but give me Milošević. Honestly, Hailey Cowan at this point, I was telling you right before we got on here, I think she might go down as one of the worst fighters that have ever been signed to the UFC. I believe she's 0-3 in the UFC at this point. I'm not sure. Is it 0-3? Let me double check on this. She 0-3 or did she get a fight? Did she win a fight in the UFC?
She's
Yep,
0-3. She had a split win on Contender Series, and then she's 0-3. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's 0-3 on the UFC. She lost to Jamie Lynn Horth, where that was just a big size advantage. She ended up getting just ended up getting beat up on that one. And then Nora Kano, like, you got submitted by a Muay Thai fighter, like, you literally a girl that's a Muay Thai fighter that doesn't have the best grappling, that everybody knows to beat Kano, take it to the floor and grappling order. You got submitted by her, and then you got knocked out by a 19-year-old girl or 18-year-old girl in Alice Pereira. Where I think Alice Pereira, if you watch that fight, she was surprised she knocked her out. She was just like, "Oh, I got the knockout. This is pretty crazy." Like, she was even excited. Kind of surprised by that. So I think this is the UFC setting up Milošević in a good spot. I think at this point, I think she's better than everywhere than a Cowan. The Contender Series is right around the corner. They're trying to cut some people from the UFC. This is going to be a setup spot for Milošević to come in here, win this fight. They're going to end up cutting Hailey Cowan, and she's going to go down with like Rachel Ostovich and other girls, be the worst probably signing in the UFC history for women fighters. I don't want to say history because back in the day they had some pretty bad fighters, but yeah. Either way, I think Milošević wins this fight. I think it's going to go all 3 rounds, though. I think we're going to see a lot of grappling transitions in this fight. I think a good spot for this fight is maybe the fight to go the distance because I don't want to. Either way, I don't want to put a whole bunch of money on Milošević because obviously I think this is her UFC debut, so I don't want to go and put a whole bunch of stock into her, as in thinking she's going to end up winning this fight for sure. But she should win this fight pretty easily. But I'm probably going to be attacking this fight from the angle of over 2.5, over 1.5. I think it's set at like a -300. That's a good parlay piece. I think there's gonna be a lot of grappling, and she ends up winning this fight probably by decision.
All right. Yeah, I tend to agree with a lot of what you said there. Yeah, like Milošević, pressure fighter. She'll go for the cage push. She's okay striking, like nothing too crazy. Mainly boxing attack. Works the jab high and low, which I do like. She throws a lot of single shots, like occasionally combos, but mainly a lot of single shots. Once she gets a rhythm, she'll start to put more combos together. She'll mix up her targets. A little bit slow, not definitely not the fast striker by any means. She, for the most part, is pretty defensively responsible. Can get hit at times, but yeah, she gets a bit wild, which can lead to her getting hit. She likes to clinch, like to throw the knees. Pretty good takedown defense, opportunistic back takes. Good grappling. Will attack submissions. There's definitely some there. And yeah, Cowan, okay striking, not the most defensively sound. Somewhat physical for the weight class. She'll also cage push, some reversals, decent top control, opportunistic back takes for her as well. But yeah, I don't know that Milošević is going to have the highest ceiling in the UFC, but I don't think that Cowan is going to be the one to hand her a loss here. So yeah, I think Milošević either wins a decision or could get a late stoppage potentially. So yeah, I think either using her as a parlay piece at the money line, maybe looking at the over 1.5 as you mentioned, or maybe taking Milošević by decision at +192. Those are kind of the angles I'd take a look at here. Moving on to our next fight, we have Mateusz Rębecki versus Kyle Prepolec. We have Mateusz Rębecki coming in at minus 550, and we have Kyle Prepolec coming in at plus 400. This is an interesting one. Rębecki, southpaw, pressure style, mixes up his attacks. Definitely not the most defensively sound. Has been in a lot of wars, has a lot of scar tissues, and just overall has taken a lot of damage in his career. On the other side, you got Prepolec, who's also a southpaw. Okay striking, straight punches, basic combos. Yeah, mainly boxing focused with occasional kicks. He mixes up his targets, and he's also not the most defensively sound. So I think there's going to be a lot of strikes thrown and landed in this fight. I think the line here is a little ridiculous. Like, I definitely am going to pick Rębecki to get this one done, but as far as him being minus 550, that is absolutely insane to me. I think from a money line standpoint, this is absolutely a dog or pass scenario. As I mentioned about Rębecki, he's taken a lot of damage. The first punch could bust him open. He could be leaking blood all over the place. So yeah, this is one that I probably want nothing to do with. Yeah, as far as a bet, like I said, it's dog or pass, but I'm probably going to stay away from this one unless I end up sprinkling on Prepolec. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Rębecki side, but at the same time, I agree. I was so close to taking Prepolec as an underdog. I was really close. I was really thinking about it because I get it. This guy's 0-4 in the UFC. He hasn't won a fight in the UFC since back in 2019. He lost to Austin Hubbard. He lost another fight, I believe. I can't remember who it was, but one of them was Austin Hubbard. Then he came back to the UFC. He lost to Benoit Saint Denis. Then he lost to Drew Dober. But those last two fights with Benoit and Drew Dober, he was very competitive. He was actually looking pretty good in some spots, and especially that fight against Drew Dober. Talking to a guy that had money on Drew Dober, and I was sweating. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, is he really about to lose this fight? And then obviously Drew Dober does Drew Dober things. But at the same time, he's been very competitive. So I do believe that Rębecki's going to win this fight. One thing about Rębecki, he hits very hard. His striking isn't very technically sound, but he hits very hard. And his game plan in this fight is probably going to go to the wrestling. Just take down Prepolec. But I can say one thing. If he doesn't get Prepolec down and he ends up getting tired from it, this could be a greasy fight. So I don't want anything to do with parlaying Rębecki this weekend. I think the best way to attack this fight is maybe take the under, because I do believe somebody can get knocked out in this fight. But overall, I think Rębecki's going to have to use his grappling for the most part. But either way, I don't know if I'm going to have any action on this one, but my official pick is going to be Rębecki, and I'm going to say he wins by knockout, but not too confident in it because, yeah, Prepolec, his last two fights, even though he lost them, he's been very, very competitive. So, yeah, give me Rębecki, but I'm probably going to pass on this one myself.
All right, next up, we got Bogdan Grad versus Denis Buzukja. We have Bogdan Grad at minus 200 and Denis Buzukja at plus 174. What do you like in this one?
I like Bogdan Grad in this fight, and I really do think he's gonna go out here and beat Buzukja. I feel like I'm actually like the Bogdan Grad whisperer. I feel like I haven't got a fight wrong in Bogdan Grad's career, even in Contender Series. Like I picked him against Michael Aswell in the Contender Series, even though I'm a big fan of Michael Aswell. That fight where I picked against Michael Aswell actually got me my interview, and I started talking to Michael Aswell. So I picked him in that fight. And then I picked him against Lucas Alexander. What's it called? In the name-off fight, I picked the fight to go to decision. So, like, obviously, I wanted Grad to win that one, but I took the over 2.5 because I thought I was going to go into decision. And then I obviously took Luke Riley against him. I knew Luke Riley ended up knocking him out. So I've got a lot of good reads on his fights, and I feel like this is a good fight for him. Buzukja, I don't feel like his UFC level. I don't think he has this. He has great training partners, and it seems like he's not getting really any improvements from those great training partners he has. Because he's still the same guy. He strikes pretty decently. He has pretty decent striking. He has power to put anybody away. But I just think more technically sound is going to be Bogdan Grad. Bogdan Grad, he keeps his hands up pretty well. He throws good 1-2s down the pipe. He has decent wrestling to be able to take you down, and he's a pressure fighter as well. He likes to walk forward. So as long as he doesn't get on the back foot and let Buzukja get where he wants to be and walking forward, throwing heavy shots, I believe this fight's tailor-made for Grad to get back into the win column. So I'm going to say Bogdan Grad wins this fight, and most likely I'm going to say I think this fight is probably going to go to decision, just because I think Grad's going to, he knows that he needs a win here in this spot, so I think he's going to try to be safe, use his wrestling more than actually trying to dog it out and strike a Buzukja. So I do believe he's going to win this fight, a lot of more wrestling, and then end up pulling this one off by decision. So give me Bogdan Grad.
Yeah, I like Grad here too. Yeah, he's got a pressure style, good striker, puts punches and kicks together. Some dynamic attacks as well. Throw some spinning heel kicks. He can go for takedowns of his own. Buzukja, I was actually in person at his last fight when he got starched by Marcio Barbosa in round 1. Had a bet on the round 1 KO as well, so that was a nice cash. Yeah, he's a decent striker as well. Mainly boxing focused. Yeah, he'll work the jab, leg kicks, teeps, mixes up his targets. Not the most defensively sound. And one thing I'll say, he used to have great training partners. He now has opened his own gym and is not training with those guys anymore. So
he's not at the goat shed no more.
Well, he was training with like Aljo and those guys. He's not training with those guys anymore, and I believe he opened up his own gym and he sort of going on that sort of path. So yeah, I just don't know how seriously he's committed to his own fighting career at this point. And yeah, I echo a lot of things you said about Grad. Yeah, I've had a pretty good track record of betting on his fights as well. Yeah, I think this fight could be entertaining, could be competitive, but yeah, I just trust Grad a lot more overall. And yeah, I think Grad, has the option to wrestle here, or cage push at times if he wants to. I don't think he needs to, but he has that in his back pocket. And yeah, I think like you mentioned, Grad's had a couple of fights not go his way. He's gonna look to bounce back here. So yeah, I like your angle. I think he either wins, he wins a decision. So I think, yeah, for as far as a bet, I like the over 2.5 at -138, or I also like Grad via decision at +171. I think those are both worth a look for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So with our next fight of the night, we have Mark Vologdin versus Borislav Nikolić. This fight I'm looking forward to seeing. Vologdin, he also fought on the UFC Winnipeg card. I was at that event. Yeah, obviously, if you've seen that fight against John Castaneda and also his Contender Series fight, that this guy puts on absolute wars. He's a very good striker. He got a variety of kicks, good power for the weight class, movement, very good takedown defense. Yeah, mixes up his targets, good combos. He's fast. He cuts good angles, good at countering. But if you've watched the fight before, one of the issues with him is he is very small. At 5'3", he is very small for a flyweight, and he's actually a bantamweight. So that's a major issue for him. Obviously, he's been fighting with that height his entire life, so he's always going to be the shorter guy. And obviously, that he's kind of getting used to that and finding ways to make that work for him. Obviously, it hasn't quite worked out for him in the UFC and on the Contender Series. But yeah, entertaining guy. He also tends to gas out, fairly hard as the fight goes on, which I definitely don't love. And but yeah, he is ultra durable and a lot to like as far as entertainment standpoint with him. And then Nikolić, he's a good striker, pressure style, works a jab and the lead hook. He has a nice rear uppercut. He also has good power for the weight class. He's got good leg kicks, okay takedown defense. He'll work back to the feet if he doesn't get taken down, mix up his targets. He's got a good submission arsenal. Yeah, I think this fight mainly plays out on the feet, and it could end up being a war. I'm leaning towards Nikolić getting this one done by decision. Yeah, Vologdin, like I mentioned, he tends to slow as the fight goes on. So yeah, I think Nikolić gets this done. Yeah, Vologdin's at +155 and Nikolić is at -180. I think the line's about right. So as far as a bet, yeah, I don't mind the over 2.5 at -120. There isn't props out for this fight quite yet. And the best price for the Nikolić money line is -163. So yeah, I think Nikolić money line or the over 2.5 would be worth a look for now. What about you?
I think this is going to be an absolute dogfight. I think this is going to be probably one of the best fights of the night. I think both the guys are going to be landing some shots early, and it's going to come down to who's more of a dog and who can push forward more and who has a better gas tank. And honestly, I think that's going to be Nikolić. I just think Nikolić is going to have more in his arsenal. He can go to some wrestling if he wants to, go to some grappling if he wants to, but for the most part, I think this fight's going to be on the feet. And I believe they're going to land some shots. And I think Nikolić is he's gonna be more technically sound. I know Vologdin, he is very small. He's more of a brawler type style. He'll get hit to land a shot, and you don't want to do that against a guy in Nikolić. I think Nikolić is gonna be landing some hard shots, and I honestly think he's gonna knock out Vologdin. I know Vologdin has never been knocked out in his MMA career at all. I believe he's very durable, has never been knocked out. But how many wars can you be in until your chin is gonna give up on you? And I believe this is gonna be it. You're not going to be able to keep walking forward, especially a guy that's nickname is Zombie. He's going to be the one walking forward and taking shots as well. So I got Nikolić. I think he's going to knock out Vologdin. Vologdin is very young, good prospect. I like his fights. He's very exciting all the time. But there's just a point where you just cannot just taking so many shots, especially against a guy that's going to hit you this hard. I think Nikolić is going to win. I think he's going to end up knocking out Vologdin probably in that second or third round.
All right. We'll keep on running. Next up, we got Oban Elliott versus Michael Oliveira. We got Oban Elliott at plus 274 and Michael Oliveira at minus 340. What do you think in this one?
Okay, so I want to start it off by saying I'm a big Oban Elliott fan. I've been watching this guy for a while. I bet on him a few times. I finally lost money when I bet on him against and Co went out there and looks pretty great. But this is not a good fight for him. This is not a good fight for him at all. Like I believe he's gonna be at a size disadvantage. Let me see, 6'1". Yeah, he's gonna be at a size disadvantage in this spot. He's gonna be at a striking disadvantage in this spot. And Oban does have some decent boxing, but just the way Michael Oliveira puts things together and how hard he hits, I don't know if Michael Oliveira. I don't know if Oban Elliott's going to be able to walk forward as much as he wants to in this fight. And he's going to probably try to get to his wrestling. Oban Elliott does have really good wrestling overall, but Michael Oliveira very strong, good takedown defense as well. So for the most part, I think this fight's going to be on the feet, and that's not where you want to be with the guy in Oliveira. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Oban Elliott, but this is not a good fight for him. I think he's going to end up getting knocked out in this spot. I think Oliveira knocks him out in that first round.
All right. Yeah, I Oban. He's a pretty good striker. Yeah, he'll throw the kicks, combinations. He's got some pretty good straight, good check hook, pretty good hand speed. Yeah, he can counter. Not the most defensively sound, which could be an issue here. On the other side you got Oliveira. Like this dude is not somebody that most people in the weight class are going to want to fight. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, very good striker. He's got calculated pressure. Like he doesn't just pressure you and like swing like an idiot or swing wild. He basically just like backs you up and makes you feel uncomfortable with his like presence. And then he kind of just like sticks a jab out there and just sticks kind of like almost like decoy punches out there to bait you to counter or to throw. And then as soon as you throw, he's going to counter and rip hard shots. That's something that I like to see. He'll work the jab, leg kick, very fast, mix up his targets. Yeah, very good power, great countering, very good with the pull counter, good boxing combos. Yeah, overall, I think Oliveira at some point is going to knock him out. He's going to be backing up Oban most of the fight, and Oban also typically prefers to be the hammer rather than the nail. And yeah, I think Oliveira is going to finish the fight. Yeah, I think you could look at round 1 KO plus 170 or round 2 KO at plus 325. I think those could be worth a look in this one. So we're seeing the same thing there. We'll keep on running. Next up, we got Ľudovít Klein versus Tofiq Musayev. We got Ľudovít Klein coming in at minus 235 and Tofiq Musayev coming in at plus 195. This one's an interesting fight. For a few different reasons. For starters, in Ľudovít Klein's last fight, he had that injury, the ankle injury, so I'm curious to see how he's going to end up, coming back and looking since that injury. Musayev, he's a pretty good striker. Got some leg kicks, mix up his strikes. He'll catch kicks. He can get a bit wild at times and throw power shots, which I don't love at times. He'll cage push, throw elbows in the clinch. He can go for takedowns as well. I think he may look to do that here. Vicious ground and pound. He is a bit of a dirty fighter. I'm not necessarily talking about the cage grab in the Bahamondes fight. Like, again, you're fighting in a cage, you get rocked. You're going to do whatever you need to do to survive. So I don't have an issue with that. I blame the ref more than I blame Musayev. However, later on in that fight, he clearly intentionally headbutted Bahamondes on the ground. And again, that's once again, it's on the ref for not seeing that. But just note that he's gonna be cheating, which could end up leading him to him losing points, getting DQ'd. So let's keep that in the back of your mind. Klein, he's a very good striker, very good combinations, straight punches, very good timing. He's defensively sound, and he's got decent takedown defense. If he gets taken down to the mat, he doesn't have a whole lot off his back, but his initial takedown defense and stuffing takedowns along the cage is quite good. For this one, like if Klein, isn't bothered by that injury, I think he comes out and looks good here. I think he probably wins a decision or maybe gets a late KO. The straight money line minus 235, I do think that is a little wide. Like as far as a bet in this one from a money line standpoint, I'm not going to parlay Klein. I kind of think it'd be a dog or pass because again, if Musayev can get those takedowns going on, this is going to be a very competitive fight and one that Musayev might win. But yeah, like I said, my pick, I'm going to lean Klein decision. So yeah, I think the over 2.5 at minus 150 could be worth a look, or Klein by decision at plus 143 if you want to play Klein. What about you?
I like Klein in this spot mainly because I really just do believe that it's going to come down to the takedowns from Musayev. And first thing I want to say is he's absolutely a dirty fighter. Absolutely a dirty fighter. This dude was about to get finished by Bahamunis at that point. Like he was getting beat up, but then he's going to grab the fence to get up. And then the ref, like you said, I'm blaming the ref. I'm blaming both of them because you can't just grab the fence. I don't care if you're rocked or not. You can't just grab the fence. So the other thing is like the ref, how do you not see that? And the second thing, he's on top of Bahamunis. This dude literally levels up and just boom, drops a headbutt right on him. And ref, how do you not see that as well? So he's an absolute dirty fighter. He was gonna lose that fight to Bahamunis, I believe, if he didn't grab that fence. And but then you do stuff like that, it turns all the way around. He end up winning the W. But this fight, he's gonna have to get Ľudovít Klein down to the floor because if he doesn't, Ľudovít Klein's gonna outstrike him easily. And the one thing I've seen with Ľudovít Klein is he has really good takedown defense historically. This guy stops takedowns very well. He's very strong and he's very low. He's very low to the floor when he fights. So he has his knees bent very well. He knows takedowns are coming, so he's already ready for them. So this is a fight where I do believe it's going to be a great fight for Ľudovít Klein. Stop takedowns, keep his fight striking, and end up just piecing up Musayev and winning this fight. I think he could get a knockout in that third round when Musayev probably gets tired from shooting so many takedowns. So I think a third round knockouts on the board. But for the most part, I think this fight goes to decision, and he ends up winning a decision in this spot.
All right. Next up, we have Miloš Janičić versus Noah Gagnon. We have Janičić at minus 105 and Gagnon at minus 115. What do you like in this one?
I think this is a very competitive fight, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is going back and forth, but more. I'm gonna be leaning towards Janičić in this fight, just because I feel like he's fought the better competition at this point, and also I believe that he can mix up the angles more. Like he can wrestle. He has some decent jiu-jitsu. He has some good striking. So I believe he's gonna be able to mix it up a little bit more. And I think the only reason why this fight's on the main card for the opening of the main card is because Janičić's gonna have a lot of people there supporting him. He fights out of Montenegro, where in Montenegro they're basically bordered with Serbia, so they're gonna have a lot of people coming out for him. He has like 300,000 followers on Instagram, and people love this guy out there. So he is going to have a lot more people there. So I do believe that's the reason why they're having this fight there. And I think this is a setup fight for him, honestly. Even though the line, I do believe it's gonna be a little closer. I just think Janičić is going to be able to mix angles up a little bit more. I think he's going to mix in grappling with some striking. I think this fight's probably going to go the distance. But yeah, give me Janičić, or Janičić, how you pronounce it. I do believe he wins this fight probably by decision.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I think this is, going to be a pretty competitive fight. Not the highest level fight by any means. Like I think, this fight was more of a Contender Series style fight. Yeah, Janičić works the jab, mixes up his targets, mainly single shots. He is a little bit awkward on the feet, but yeah, pretty good boxing, mainly boxing focus with occasional kicks. And then, yeah, Gagnon works the jab. He's also got combos. He looks to pressure you, cage push, go for takedowns of his own. He has some very good ground and pound. Good elbows. I think this is going to be a violent fight. I think somebody's getting finished in this fight, honestly. Most of these guys, or for the most part, these guys both end up finishing their fights. Like I said, I'm not the highest on Janičić, honestly. Like I don't know if he's that great or that high of a ceiling. I honestly think Gagnon has a higher ceiling, but I think right now Janičić is the better fighter today. So because of that, I'm going to pick him to win by knockout. As far as a bet, probably just take him on the money line at minus 105. I think that'd probably be a good bet. But this is one that I'm not sure if I'm going to end up getting to the window with this one. But yeah, curious to see how this one plays out. And yeah, definitely expecting a finish here on my end. I think that'd be a good way to start off the main card. So we will move on to our next fight of the night. We have Vlasto Čepo versus Gilbert Urbina. In this one, like if you've watched a tape on Čepo, you know how this dude fights. This dude has a pressure style, wants to get in your face, rip combinations. Like this dude's a brawler. This dude fights like a bar fight. This dude fights like he's Devil Park. He wants to get you out of there as fast as possible. He is a bit wild at times, and he will mix up his targets. He'll go to the body. He'll look to cage push at times, but usually he's just trying to back you up against the cage and send your head into the cheap seats. Urbina, this dude typically fought at welterweight. He's coming up to middleweight for this fight. He's a decent striker. He'll throw straights. Yeah, mainly boxing focus with some leg kicks. I've never really trusted Urbina, especially at welterweight, let alone moving up a weight class here. Yeah, I think, you got to take Čepo as the pick here. However, I'm not necessarily sold on this dude either. Like, there's kind of some red flags, and like, say he doesn't get the round one knockout, what does this fight look like as it goes? So I think there's a lot of question marks in this fight. But as far as a bet, you could look at Čepo round one KO minus 125. But again, obviously the books are on it. Books are on this as well. You're like negative odds for a round one KO, so I might just end up staying away from this one. But yeah, give me Čepo and give me Čepo by round one KO. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think this fight is honestly like tailor made for like a banger for him to come out here win this fight first round knockout. Urbana is the guy that's, like I said, the UFC is getting ready for the Contender Series right around the corner. They're looking to drop some people from the contract, and I think this is a setup fight for him to lose. I don't think he has the best striking defense, and I think one thing about Čepo, he does have gassing issues. I believe if this fight does get to like the second, third round, he could gas himself out. But at that point, if you're gonna bet this fight, bet first round knockout. Bet first, maybe Čepo to win in under 1.5, just in case he does get that knockout in that for beginning of the second round. But first round knockout, the knockout prop's the only way you want to touch this fight, because he's knockout or bust. If this fight gets to that third round, that just means something went wrong for him, and that means Urbina's probably gonna put it on him in that third round. But overall, I just think this fight's tailor made for him to win. Urbina's gonna be probably dropped from the UFC after this one and open up a spot for the Contender Series. So give me Čepo by knockout.
All right. Next up, we got Duško Todorović versus Robert Valentin. We have Todorović coming in at plus 140 and Valentin coming at minus 160. For the last fight as well, Čepo moneyline minus 350. Urbina was plus 275. I believe I forgot to mention that, so I want to throw that in. But yeah, Todorović plus 140, Valentin minus 160. What do you like in this one?
This is going to be the underdog I'm going to be taking. I like Todorović in this spot. I think Todorović is going to be able to land the bigger shots of Valentin. Both these guys don't have the best chins, and both these guys are not the highest level of fighter. I do believe this fight's going to come down to if Valentin can end up getting this fight to the floor, because I do believe if he gets into a dogfight with Todorović, it's going to be 50-50 at that point, because I think both of them can knock each other out, but I think Valentin's more better on the ground overall. But I just think Duško Todorović, I know a lot of people at this point are starting to fade him, and don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people that started to fade him, but I do believe this is a fight where two guys I like to fade are fighting against each other. But I just think Todorović is just going to be able to land one of those shots and end up putting Valentin away. I do believe this is probably a 50-50 fight. I probably won't get to the ticket booth with this one and putting a bet on it. But either way, I do believe Todorović is going to win this fight. It's dog or pass for me. Say if Valentin was the underdog, I'd probably be taking Valentin, to be honest. But it's dog or pass for me in this one.
All right. I'm going to go the other way in this one. I'm going to take Valentin. He also fought on the UFC Winnipeg card. That was his last fight. He got a win by submission in that one. Yeah, Todorović, like he's an okay striker. He'll mix up his attacks, lots of single shots from him. He can be at low volume at times. He'll throw, kicks to the body and up high. He can go for some takedowns of his own. Pretty good grappling. He'll attack subs. He look for the cage push, that kind of thing. Valentin, good striker, good straights, dynamic attack. He'll mix up his punches and kicks. Yeah, he's got good low kicks, good power. He can also go for takedowns of his own. He's got a good rear naked choke. Yeah, like kind of as you mentioned, these are two guys that typically I'm not necessarily looking to back by any means. But yeah, I think Valentin gets this one done by finish. I think he's going to be the much better striker here, and I think he'll be able to hold his own in the grappling. So yeah, I think Valentin. I saw you can get his money line at -156. I think that would be a decent bet, or the Valentin ITD. Those are the two angles I would look at here. Could also look at the knockout prop as well. I wouldn't mind that, but yeah, I'm not sure if I bet this one, but those are kind of the angles that I would be looking to attack on this fight. So we will keep on running. Next up, we have Marcin Tybura versus Alexander Rakic. We have Tybura coming in at +280 and Rakic at -350. Speaking of two guys I like to fade, this is another matchup where there's two guys that I typically like to fade. Yeah, I've made a good amount of money betting against both of these guys. Tybura, decent striker, works the jab, mainly strikes to close distance, like he's typically looking to grapple, like decent power, but he's obviously, a bit more of a plotter. Yeah, good grappling, good cage push, kind of definitely closer to the end than the beginning of his career at this point. And yeah, Rakic, solid striker, definitely going to have the edge on the feet here. Yeah, likes to use leg kicks, use movement, works the jab. He has some decent combos. He's a decent grappler as well. Yeah, like I said, Rakic, I think he doesn't have the best fight IQ. I've seen him make some very poor decisions in there, and that's part of the reason why I typically end up fading this guy, and that's treated me well. But yeah, and obviously he's a light heavyweight moving up to heavyweight as well. This is his debut at heavyweight, so keep that in mind as well. So yeah, if he's end up, not having success and he's end up getting, pinned against the cage and grappled by Tybura, that could be, a long night for him. But what I do see happening is I think Rakic is going to end up winning a decision here. I think he's going to, kind of skid around the outside, throw his kicks, work the jab. So yeah, I think as far as a bet, you could look at the over 2.5 at -130. You could look at Rakic by decision at +170. But yeah, not sure if I end up playing this one. What about you?
So I'm going to be on Rakic on this spot. I understand that he's going up to heavyweight in this fight, and he's going to have a big size advantage. Tybura likes to hold people up against the fence and try to get those trips, get body lots, and just use his size advantage against people. But Rakic has really good wrestling. He has good judo as well. I don't think he's going to be able to get caught with any of those trips. And he's going to have a big speed advantage in this spot. And I honestly believe that Rakic, as long as he stays safe and doesn't get taken down to the floor and uses that jab, and he ends up putting combinations together, I think he can end up knocking out Tybura. Tybura has been a lot of wars. Tybura, I don't know if he can take a big shot like that anymore. And Rakic at heavyweight, I think he's going to be able to have, like I said, a speed advantage. I think he's going to be able to land a hard shot overall and probably end up putting Tybura away. So yeah, give me Rakic in his heavyweight debut to get the knockout.
All right. Next up, we got Jan Blachowicz versus Navajo Sterling. We have Blachowicz coming in at +265 and Sterling at -315. What do you like in this one?
I love Navajo Sterling in this spot. I think he's going to be way better than Jan Blachowicz in this spot. Jan's going to have to get this fight to the floor. And if he doesn't, he's going to get picked apart on the feet, in my opinion. I just think Navajo Sterling is so technically sound that he's going to be able to keep that long jab out there, land 1-2s. He has good combinations where he likes to go to the body as well. I just think Navajo Sterling is one of these guys that we got to keep our eye on because his takedown defense is getting better and better. And he's also starting to get some offensive wrestling himself. So overall, I like Navajo Sterling a lot in this spot. I want to give Jan some respect and say he's not going to get knocked out in this fight because he tends to have a decent chin. But Navajo Sterling can knock him out. But overall, Navajo Sterling is one of my favorite fighters going forward. Obviously, I am Native American, guys. You guys don't know. And my tribe is Navajo. I am a Navajo Native American. And his name is Navajo. So ever since I came like a tennis series, I've been a fan right away. But overall, besides that, this guy is just a great overall striker out of city kickboxing. He's one of the future guys we got to keep our eye on. So give me Navajo Sterling, and I'm just gonna say he wins by decision because Jan tends to have a good chin.
All right, yeah, I'm with you here. Yeah, obviously Blachowicz, very solid striker, got good leg kicks, very durable. He's good at checking the leg kicks as well. Good power. Decent takedowns, and obviously has a ton of experience, has fought, Alex Pereira, Ankalaev, has fought some very good competition. And then, yeah, Sterling, he's also a good striker, mixes up the targets well. He's got a good arsenal of kicks, got good weapons in the clinch, decent takedown defense in his own right as well. Yeah, so it's like all the intangibles, you like, and athleticism and everything like that you like on the Sterling side here, and the experience, on the Blachowicz side. Yeah, I do think Sterling ends up getting this one done. I just want to note that, yeah, this is obviously a pretty big jump up for him. So far, the UFC's definitely been slow rolling him and, building him up. You can tell that he's definitely a guy that they're wanting to keep around, and they have a lot of high hopes for him. So yeah, I think he ends up getting this one done. But I think the line might be a tad wide, especially if he ends up going to a decision. Like if he knocks him out, then it might not look that wide. But if he goes to a decision, it could be close. So yeah, I think for a bet, you could look at Sterling by decision here at about plus 116. As you mentioned, Blachowicz is super tough. Yeah, it's going to take Sterling could land the one punch and put him out. That's possible. But yeah, Blachowicz is a tough guy. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards decision. So that will be the co-main event. So we're moving on to the main event of the evening. We have Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez. We have Medic at minus 370 and Daniel Rodriguez coming in at plus 295. We talking about setup spots before the show, and you mentioned that in a couple of fights. Talk about setup spots. This is the setup spot of all setup spots. You got Medic, who's been on a tear as of late, on a 3-fight win streak, all by knockout, and then you got D-Rod, who is also on a 3-fight win streak. However, he hasn't fought in a year, and he was in prison. So there's that. So yeah, obviously, I'm curious to see what he's going to look like in weigh-ins. And I guess he was training in there as well. But yeah, overall, not definitely what you like to see. And I mean, he's almost 40 years old. D-Rod is like, he's definitely a crafty vet, and he can put on some good performances. Like, yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, yeah, like Medic, very solid striker, very solid combos, very fast, good straight punches. He controls the range well. And D-Rod, like, he has a really good jab, good striker, decent combos, decent grappling. But yeah, just, the year off, him being almost 40 here, like, I just think, you got to favor Medic to starch him. If he doesn't, this fight could end up being close. But yeah, I think weigh-ins are going to be a good tell, just to sort of see like what shape D-Rod is in. But yeah, at least for right now, I'm going to pick Medic by KO. As far as a bet, like, you could look at him to win by first round KO, something like that. But yeah, I probably wouldn't parlay Medic. But yeah, like I said, you could look at round 1 KO, round 2 KO, something like that. I think would be worth a look in this one. What about you?
I agree in this spot. I think Uros Medic wins this fight. I just think he's gonna end up landing one of those hard shots on D-Rod and putting him away. Like you said, D-Rod was just disappeared off the face of the earth. Ain't nobody know where he went. And then you end up coming out that he was locked up in Mexican jail down in Mexico. And then he got caught with the possession charge. I don't know if it's like I think it was like a marijuana or maybe some other drugs, whatever it was, but he got caught with the possession charge out there. And he was locked up for a while. So who knows what kind of shape D-Rod's going to be in. Like, you were just in jail for so long. You weren't actively training. And then you take a fight like couple months or maybe like a month and a half after you get out of jail. Who knows what kind of fighting shape you're going to be in. And Uros Medic is a guy that's on a 3-fight win streak. He really surprised me in his last fight against Jeff Neal, because I actually thought Jeff Neal was going to end up knocking him out. I picked Neal in that fight. And then when he knocked out Neal, I was just like, oh man, I was like, that power is real, and he's gotten so much better. And like this is a setup spot. This is him and his home country. He's ready to win this fight. He's probably gonna end up knocking out D-Rod. D-Rod's on his way out. Both these guys are on a 3-fight winning streak right now. But if you look at the competition they have fought, I just believe that Uros Medic in his last fight, Jeff Neal, is probably better than. I mean, I guess you can say Kevin Holland and Jeff Neal at this point in their career might be basically the same, but I still lean it towards Jeff Neal. But I just think Medic is on a run at this point where it's going to keep going. He's a doctor. Everyone loves this guy, especially out in Serbia. And D-Rod is on his way out, I believe, being at his age. And yeah, I think he's going to get knocked out in that first or second round. So give me Uros Medic.
All right. Well, that does it for our main event. So we'll move on to our next segment, our fighter to watch and our fight to watch. So, Wager, let me ask you, who is your fighter to watch on UFC Belgrade?
I debated on this one because I feel like a lot of people might already. I mean, a lot of the MMA fans already know about this guy, but for the casuals that are going to be tuning into this card, because it's early in the morning, you want something to watch, you're going to put on some UFC. It's Navajo Sterling. this is a big step up in competition for him. He's fighting a former champion, Jan Blachowicz, so I feel like a lot of eyes are going to be on him in this spot. And yeah, I just think Navajo Sterling's one of these guys we got to keep our eye on. He could be in that title contention very soon. He also came out with the interview saying he and Carlos Ulberg will never fight each other. So it's kind of like that Marab and Aljamain Sterling thing where they said they'll never fight each other. So if he gets to that top 3 and Carlos is still champion, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do there. But yeah, Navajo Sterling is the fighter to watch for me.
All right. For me, I'm going to go with Michael Oliveira. Yeah, this dude had an awesome performance on the Contender Series. That fight was 9 months ago. A lot of people who follow Contender Series have been, awaiting this guy to make his debut. Yeah, this guy's an absolute savage. I think he's going to come out and he's going to look like what we think he can. I think he's going to put on a masterclass and end up scoring a violent knockout on Saturday. So I like Michael Oliveira as my fighter to watch. Who is your fight to watch, or what is your fight to watch?
The fight to watch or the fight of the night for this one, I'm debating, honestly. There's a lot of good fights on the card. A lot of fights that I can say that's going to be the fight of the night. But I'm going to go with the second fight of the night and Jovan Leka and Poppeck. Because I think that fight's going to be very competitive for the first round. I think both these guys are going to be able to land some shots. But Leka, with that pressure, I think he's eventually just going to break down Poppeck. And probably, like I said, third round knockout is probably going to be right there. So I think this fight's going to be a dogfight for about a round and a half. And then Leka's probably going to just keep that pressure going, land some shots, and end up knocking out Poppeck. So my fight of the night is going to be Leka and Poppeck.
All right. I'm going to bring out good old reliable. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give me Mark Vologdin. I watched this dude on the Contender Series. I think that's arguably the best Contender Series fight of all time. Mm-hmm. Watching it again this week obviously was a treat. And yeah, I was at UFC Winnipeg to see his first fight in the UFC. That was also an entertaining fight. The guy was throwing rolling thunder kicks. He did throw one on the Contender Series as well. But yeah, this guy's just super fun to watch. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give me Mark Vologdin versus Borislav Nikolić as my fight to watch on UFC Belgrade. Well, that does it for our picks and our fighter to watch and our fight to watch. So, Wager, let me ask you, what do you got going on over on your channel this week?
I'm going to be going live every single day this week talking about baseball. We're going to be breaking down a lot of baseball games because we're kind of like a couple weeks out from the NFL. So we're going to be going live every single day talking about baseball, breaking down baseball games where we absolutely have been killing baseball for the MLB for the last 3 days. So if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys go check out my page. It's the Wager Zone. It's going to be right here. You guys can find my channel right here as well. If you guys like any other sports, I do everything from like tennis, soccer, baseball, NFL football comes up. We do basketball, the NBA. So we do everything. So make sure you guys go check that out. All of my picks are posted on my Patreon. The link is going to be in the description of any of my videos. You can find that link down to my Patreon page for UFC, LFA, PFL. All my official picks are posted there. And yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video, turn your notifications on because we're going to have a busy week just like last week. We're going to be coming on here 3 times and we're going to be posting these Fight IQ all the way from episode 7 all the way to episode 9 this week. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, make sure you subscribe, hit the like, turn the noties on. Yeah, drop a comment as well if you guys have been enjoying these videos. And yeah, for me, I actually posted a video yesterday. I interviewed Mackenzie Stiller, who is on this year's season of The Ultimate Fighter. So definitely give that a listen. It was definitely a good interview, and she's a very entertaining prospect. And yeah, as Wager mentioned, we'll be coming at you guys with a PFL video and a LFA video. So yeah, a lot of tape study we're doing for you guys, a lot of breakdowns, everything like that. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. And yeah, also come with another 5 MMA bets in just 10 minutes video as well. Yeah, we'll keep doing that, and we'll look to do even better this week. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, be sure to hit the like, drop a comment, hit the subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.